Yeah, you are welcome to today's episode of the Diaspora Global Panel. With me today, I have Jude Nwaokolo from the Republic of Ireland, Anthony Heze from the United States, and I remain my humble self, Olakunle Lemboye. Today, we are going to discuss an interesting topic, controversial, but yet an interesting one: the frequent military coups in West Africa. How do you think, guys? This is a very interesting topic as we are witnessing a wave of military coups across the West African region like we have never seen before. In recent months, we have seen 3 military coups happening within 4 months. It all started with Mali in August 2020, when the military overthrew the government in Mali. The perpetrators of this coup, were led by Colonel Assimi Goïta. And in May 2021, the same Colonel Assimi Goïta also led another coup to oust the president of Mali in May of 2021. And at that time, Colonel Assimi Goïta was the vice president of Mali. And obviously, he wasn't happy with the way the president was conducting the state of affairs. He decided to overthrow the government. That was in May of 2021. Then, September of 2021, we had another military coup in Equatorial Guinea. That was led by a former French legionnaire, Lieutenant Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya, who deposed the president of Equatorial Guinea, President Alpha Conde. That coup did not receive the international condemnation like we see in other coups, because President Alpha Conde was actually trying to perpetuate the third-term agenda, contrary to the Article 2 of the ECOWAS protocol that states that no government must make a significant change to the electoral law 6 months before the election, unless, of course, the action is consented to by the majority of the political actors. So because of the third-term agenda, President Alpha Conde was ousted. Then we have Burkina Faso, another coup in January 2022, when President Roch Kabore was overthrown by Colonel Damiba due to worsening security situation in that country. The most recent one was in February 2022. The coup led by, in Guinea-Bissau, the coup, was led by a disgruntled former Navy chief, Admiral Jose Americo Bubo Nachuto, who decided to mastermind a coup against the president of Guinea-Bissau, President Umaru Sissoco Embalo. And we see a lot of bloodshed and damage to the nation when these coups happen. Why do we have this coup in Africa? What is going on in Africa? Because we see that, when this coup happens, we see so many credit rating agencies like Moody. What they do is that they lower the credit rating of this country. And as a result, it affects investment inflow. into the country that we have military coups happening. So the question is, what is happening to Africa? What is fueling these coups and pushing the military officers into taking over power? Are we still stuck in the dark ages of strong military dictatorship? What is happening in Africa? I'll go over to you, Tony. What is happening? What is pushing them into perpetrating this coup?
Okay. Thank you for having me today. It's my pleasure being here today. To be clear, we want our audience to understand we are not here to support military coup. We are here to create an awareness that there is reemergence of military coups. There is always a popular saying that the worst democratic government is better than the best military rule. That being the case, there is reemergence, which no sensible person will be happy about. We are concerned because a look at the recent coups, they have similarity with some of the things that are happening in other West African countries, including Nigeria. The recent coup in Burkina Faso was as a result of the masses' reaction, one way or the other, to improper handling of insurgents. It's all over West Africa.
And similar to what we have in Nigeria.
Exactly. There's a lot of massacre in Nigeria and other Sahel region. And there's no sign that it's going to stop. And each of these countries, when they discover that their families, friends are being murdered, being kidnapped, and so much amount of money, millions, are being asked by kidnappers, and some government appear to be doing nothing about it. Now, you cannot prevent the military from taking over when you create a fertile ground for them. We don't support that. We don't like that. What is happening in all the countries is maladministration, and some people trying to perpetuate themselves in power forever. If you prevent the masses from doing anything, you might not be able to stop the military. We should do whatever it takes to keep military out of power. They rule by decree. People do not have a say in their government. They wake up anytime they want, have less than 1 hour minutes, create a decree and force it on the masses. But the government should realize that you cannot eat your cake and have it. If you invite them by your action and utterances, you are just bringing the people the masses will not want to have. So the issue is that when you look at all the countries, they are similar. It's just that when the military are fed up of excuses here and there, they decide to take over, which no normal person will support. So we have similarity in the occurrences and circumstances in our land, and the government should watch out.
Thank you, Tony. You said one thing that actually caught my attention, actually, that the worst civilian government is better than the best military administration. And that has been a popular saying. And we knew what happened during, in Nigeria. I will defer to Nigeria, during Buhari and Idi Agbon's regime, during Babangida's regime. And it's true, they rule by decree. People don't have a say in the government. Jude, what do you think is fueling this military coup? And do you agree with Tony that the worst civilian regime is better than the best military regime?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kunle. Thank you, our viewers, for tuning in. With this topic is so crucial, especially at this time, because Tony has told us, has briefed us, which is absolutely correct. Now, I'm going to share a screen to you to let you see the reason why Tony said that. Give me 1 second. I share the screen, which might be good for all our viewers, because you can't even talk about comparison between the worst democratic government and the best civilian, the best military rulership. So I would like to also just have it there for our viewers to see why I said that we should avoid military takeover in Nigeria, because to be honest with you, it is not what people can ever think about in Nigeria. We are the giant of Africa. We are going to show the world that we are actually the giant of Africa by ruling by example. So 1 second, I will give you a screenshot here for better understanding why we should avoid military takeover. And I'm also telling
Jude, the question is, what do you think is fueling it? What is fueling this military coup?
Yeah, Tony analyze it. Different countries now, West Africa, have different reasons that fuel it. There are different reasons. If I tell you for the one of Burkina Faso, the one of Mali, let me come to the one of Mali. The reason for Mali actually was greater economic inequality, democratic representation, and social injustice. Okay, these are the 3 points in Mali. You know, people are crying out for these things to be addressed. And when people get tired, it will burst out. When you talk about the one in Guinea-Bissau, similar to that, unemployment, high unemployment, low education, people are frustrated, you know, and when this continue like that, it builds up. And you can see emergence of security issues where the crisis all over the places by hoodlums like Boko Haram and the rest, killings, insecurity. There are many things that that comes to light when we come to this. Yeah, and that is why every part of West Africa is facing this issue, because our leaders fail to tackle them. But I'm trying to point out here for our leaders, our military men in Nigeria, that we are the giant of Africa. We have to show the world, that show other African countries that are smaller than us, that we cannot live by military regime. We have to show example, and we have to uphold our democracy in Nigeria, irrespective of what we go through in Nigeria. We are going to come out of it. We never think about military coup in Nigeria, because the gains we get in democracy cannot be compared with the best military regime. And that's why I'm trying to see for us, all of us here, to encourage our viewers in Nigeria not to think about calling the military in whatever we are going through. Okay, now I have a screen there that says why military coup is bad and not a good idea for any society. One, it undermines the rule of law. It reverses democracy. They rule by force. They drive away foreign investors. They undervalue foreign countries undervalue the country and its potentials. The people live in fear and so forth. So these are the things why we should avoid military coming in, because it cannot be compared to the worst civilian regime where we have government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Yeah, I think Jude is frozen there. Yes, we kind of got the idea of what Jude was trying to say, and he has actually highlighted some of the reasons why the military are being induced, to come into power, to take over. When you see inequality, the widening, gap in inequality, social injustice, and insecurity. Those are the main point that Jude was trying to say. And Tony,
yes,
we often see popular figures, elites, mastermind this military coup. Take for example, Mali. The coup of August 2020 was actually led by an Islamic sheikh, Mahmoud Diko,
okay,
who led a national protest. And because the government mistakenly, or they were too overzealous to quell the protest, they used unprecedented force against the people. And that prompted the military to take over.
yeah,
And take for example as well, in Nigeria, you see, I remember, although this was not confirmed, it was a rumor that, I don't know whether you remember the story of Gloria Okon, who was arrested in 1985 at Kano Airport in possession of some kilograms of heroin. And the rumor was that this lady had a link to one of the wives of a powerful military actor at that time. And they said that was one of the reasons why the 1985 coup took place. Tony, what do you think about this?
yes. You are correct. You see, in most countries like Nigeria, we have kingmakers. In our last episode, I reminded our audience that oftentimes the country belongs to some people. In quote, not that it belongs to them, but they have tentacles to change national issues. Sometimes when their interests are not going where they want it to be, some of them can induce the military, who are always not so much about the interests of the masses, but being in government is a quick way to make money for them. So it has been happening, like the example you gave, some people whose interests were trampled upon had to instigate. And that's how probably the Babangida government came into power, if I'm correct.
Yes, you are very correct.
Yeah, because some people felt that, look, I wanted things to be done my own way, and of course I was not allowed to do that. Then I'm going to tell the power that be that I can change situation. And
and if you remember, Tony, that was when the military were also after Chief MKO Abiola.
Okay.
If you remember, Chief MKO Abiola had some issues with the Navy. His printing press machines and equipment that he imported into the country were seized by the Buhari regime then. And the rumor has it, because Babangida and MKO Abiola were friends. They've known each other for long. And rumor has it that Chief MKO Abiola of blessed memory also had a win that a coup was going to happen.
Okay.
So we are just talking about the influence of the rich and powerful.
Right.
That we cannot discard, the influence of these people in these military coups that we are experiencing in West Africa.
Yes. And if you recall, this scenario you narrated now is similar to what happened in Guinea-Bissau.
Yes.
Where the narcotic gang.
Yes, Admiral Chuto.
Yes, is into narcotics and drugs. Right. So you find out that all things being equal, is similar to what happened there. And if we don't watch it, it might go on in other West African countries, because coups are infectious. When it happens in one state or one country, there's always the possibility that other military departments in other countries will want to try it. We continue to decry that. We should able to, whatever type of coups, whatever way who sponsors it, they will be dealt with, because we don't want military coup. We are okay with our democracy over here. Another thing we want to advise is that, because some civilian governments, by whatever organization, do not allow the normal passing of our laws. Oftentimes, when you see a very popular proposal, some people, because it will infringe on their interests, we sit on the proclamation of these laws, and that does not augur well to the masses. That is a recipe for inviting the military, which we will never tolerate in Nigeria again.
Thank you. Thank you. Jude.
Yes.
I know that you were cut off there because of the technical difficulty.
Right.
I'm sure it's resolved now. You see, I want to ask you, Jude, a common thing from these military guys when they take over is that they say that, the political class is responsible for their actions, and they mean well for the country. In fact, many of them say they have come to save the nation. You see, do you think, military coup can be a solution?
Yeah.
Do you think military coup can be a solution in certain cases?
No. These people that come in, they said they are thinking that they feel that they come to save the country. They are not, in honesty, they are not there for that. They have intention. They have been actually eyeing to be in charge, and you find out that the only shortcut is when there's a vacuum created by some things, by what is going on in the country, and they use that opportunity to come in, expecting that people will support them. It's not the same. It's not the case, to be honest with you. We have seen that for instance, let's go back to Nigerian history. We have seen some coup happening over 2-3 years, one coming over to take over, another one coming over to take over. So in them, they have an agenda that I want to rule. I want to rule. So when someone coming for 1 year, the other party is trying to come in again. So it's not actually what they are saying. What they are saying is that's not the fact. The fact is that they have power. They are power hunger. They want to use that shortcut to attain their objective. Because when they come in, they have nothing to offer, right? They have nothing to offer. They tell me what background they have. Tell me how somebody who has been in the military going for war and what kind of administrative right?
Jude, let me come in here because you said they've got nothing to offer.
Yeah.
Let's take, for instance, Ghana.
Okay.
When Jerry Rawlings took over,
yeah.
Fly Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings.
Yeah.
We know that the situation in Ghana was precarious.
Right.
When he came in.
Yeah.
And the transformation of Ghana to a giant in Africa that we are seeing now, started with Jerry Rawlings.
Cool.
Let's also take example of Rwanda.
Right.
A country that went through the deadliest civil war in the history of mankind.
Right.
Whereby people were being slaughtered like chicken.
Mm-hmm.
We know that a military man, a former military guy, actually assumed the presidency of that country, and in a matter of years has transformed Rwanda.
Okay.
Tony, let me reverse to Tony. Okay. Tony, let me revert to you. Do you think these military guys have nothing to offer? Do you agree with Jude?
In a way, I agree with Jude, because all military coups are not rated the same. There are people who have zero thing to contribute. There are some intellectuals who later on went into the army. And when they come, although they are not desirable, but in a country where the politicians refuse to toe the line, and it's overwhelming to the masses that this is the solution to our problem, some of them in some countries, when they come in, they perform. Let's take the example of our own, of former General Buhari and Tunde Diagbo.
Mm-hmm.
When they came in, a lot of Nigeria was almost turned upside down. Mm-hmm. There are few steps they took that kind of realign the behavior of Nigerians.
Yeah.
Through Tunde Diagbo and Co, we were able to learn how to stand on the line. There was war against indiscipline, but our quarrel with that is that they don't allow the masses to make their input. Once they come in, it's whatever they believe that go along and execute. We don't want that, because around that time, some of them who are not in line with the new administration, they suffered a lot. So whatever it is, we prefer democracy, not military coups or military government.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Can I just
yes.
on this? Yeah, I want to come in here. Let's think about when Jerry Rawlings came in as that was ages ago, when Africa is coming out of colonialism. The countries in Africa are picking up, and it's not compared to what we have now, whereby every democratic institution in the world wants to deal with only democratic government. They don't want anything to do with anybody that come by force. During the time of J.J. Rawlings, we are still having a situation whereby our colonialists, our leaders, people who colonize us, the Western world, still feel that we're still immature in democracy. And irrespective of what happened then, they still try to link up with us and to see how they can fix it. Unlike now, every democratic institution don't want to deal with anybody who is associated with the military. So they withdraw their foreign support, they withdraw the loans they give to Africa, they withdraw any support, whatever, any investment, they don't want to come in because of the stigma related to the military. It was not as then when Rawlings came in as then. If it was not that Rawlings came in, they would have resisted him, nothing would have happened. So look at the time he came, he took over and did what he did. It's different from what we have now. The world don't want to live with anybody that comes by force, because they are afraid that these people, they don't know them. They're not for the people. So how can we invest in such a society? So it cannot happen now. What Jerry Rawlings did that time happened because of the vacuum, because of the events then. It is different from now. So we should avoid it, because we need we need support from the West. We need support from democratic institutions who are fully established, and we cannot tell them to go away, because what is going to happen is that when all West African countries start embracing military regime, they will actually pull away. They will stop their support. They will pull away their embassies. They will pull everything they're giving us until we stabilize. And that is going to cause a lot of massive problem to we in West Africa. That's why we should be avoided. It's different from what happened there. People should understand that. Totally different. It's not the same game anymore. That's my contribution.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jude. Tony, do you have anything to say to that? Do you have any response?
My response really is that in as much as we don't want the government not to live up to expectation, they should be careful not to create a fertile ground for coup to happen. Because
thank you.
Everyone disagree with the military takeover. I don't know whether we reach at the other point, but the point I equally want to make is that since things have changed from the colonial days to now, the ECOWAS and the AU should change their pattern of preventing coups. Or when coup happens, they should be able to change their style. Oftentimes, when we have this military government, most African countries will say they suspend communication with the government. They close the boundaries. Now, this kind of attitude had to change because the people you intend to punish, the military juntas, they have a way of taking care of themselves. The people they are actually punishing are the masses who are already in trouble. If you close button and suspend whatever thing you want to do, the powers that be in those countries, the military, they don't care. It's the man on the street that takes the pain. And like what the ECOWAS did during the Gambian election, where the former president refused to surrender power, they were able to give him ultimatum. We want this kind of arrangement to come up whereby when these military boys jump and take over, ECOWAS and AU should be on their toe, not to give them breathing space. Those suspensions, they don't work these days. They need to handle them one-on-one. If they don't want to leave, the ECOWAS army or AU army should be able to give them days to leave. Otherwise, they will come in.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. And I share your sentiment as well. And I have to say that I agree with you that the worst civilian administration is better than the best military regime. We know what happened in Nigeria during Babangida, Abacha, Buhari. We know how, the social critics, are being slammed in jail. They are being arrested. I remember, Tai Solarin of blessed memory, how he was saddled in detention so many times. I remember Gani Fawehinmi, how he was saddled in detention. I remember how this man, a northerner, Abubakar Umar, how he was clamped. Those are the pro-democracy giants.
Yes.
You see, and let us talk about. I know that Shuba or Kadigo was during Obasanjo's regime, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you could see the same military mentality. When the National Assembly members came out in protest or whatever, and they were just tear gassed. And that led to the death of Shuba or Kadigo. So we know that the military, as Jude has said, that they rule by decree, they suspend the rule of law. There are so many negatives to the military. But tell me, what will you say to the situation that happened in Mali when people came out en masse to celebrate the military takeover? Let's talk about the advent of the civil war in Liberia, you know, when the insurgents started, people celebrated the insurgents. Where I'm going is this. Do you not think that the political class also need to sit up and govern under the rule of law? Like, let me tell you an incident. This is a little bit of a digression. It happened just 2 weeks ago when Okorocha, who was legally and constitutionally being investigated by EFCC. This man traveled. He rose up, he traveled, and requested a meeting with the president of Nigeria. The president met him, and he gave a press release. He spoke to reporters and said that he came to tell the president to call Bawa, the EFCC chairman, to order. To me, that man should have been arrested there and then, you know, for trying to intimidate an agency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the president, Muhammadu Buhari, shouldn't have met him. So what I am trying to say here is that, do you not think that our political class also need to sit up? Tony?
Yes, you remember in one of my contributions, I said that they should not create a fertile ground for the military to try to take over.
Can you give us examples of some of the reasons why the military can just wake up one day and decide to take over?
Take, for example, there was a popular proposal to have party primaries.
Yes.
Yes, I can't remember.
The Electoral Act. The
Electoral Act. Every person knows in Nigeria that one of our problems is our RNG government. People trying to hand over to people of their group, which we call recycling.
Yes.
That particular primaries would have resolved a lot of problems, whereby the masses will be able to select who they think is qualified to represent them.
But Tony, to be fair to the president though, because I watched him, the president said he is not against direct primary, but he is just against dictatorship. That what the National Assembly has done is to dictate to the parties.
No,
this is what we want you to do. According to him, he said that the Electoral Act should be amended to include direct, indirect, and consensus.
Yes, I quite understand. And the problem is not really only with the president, it's the group that are involved. Because worldwide, they do primaries. Okay, in fact, in the United States, when they do primaries, you might even think that there is a kind of problem within the particular party. They make sure that they screw every person to the letter so that when you are coming up to represent the party, they have already cleared the mess that will make them lose the main election. So if there are other many popular proposals, look at the case where some people will say, oh, I cannot take it again in Nigeria. And some people will be crying for a long time. Okay, if you don't recognize us, we want to go. You step on them and say you cannot do it. If all these uprisings are coming from many tribes in Nigeria, it's a clearing call to the military, which we believe that it should never happen because that's not the way out. We want to use democratic process. If it's a referendum, do what democratic governments do worldwide. Don't convert democratic government by your action to look as if you are using decrees. So it's very, very important that government should retrace their steps in the way they handle. It's not just Nigeria, all over West Africa, all over Africa. It's happening in Sudan. It's happening
South.
everywhere. So it is with gross poverty. Even the civilians, whenever there's a change, you see them going to the street to rejoice. It's not like they really like the people coming in, the military, but it's like we have been asking for a change. We have been asking for the way government conducts its affairs. They are not happy, but whatever change that comes their way, they think that will better their condition, they will clap. So basically, we should support democratic government.
Thank you. Thank you. Jude, like what happened during the NSAS movement is similar to what we had in Mali. And I think Burkina Faso as well, because of the insecurity, poverty ravaging the whole nation and everything. And we noticed that the people of these countries, they rose up and the government was overthrown. So my question to Tony was, do you think the political class should sit up? Because let's say, peradventure, if we had seen a crop of military guys rose up to support the boys and girls that participated in the NSAS, maybe Buhari's government would not be here today. So what can the civilian government do to prevent these military guys from stepping in? What do you think the government should do?
Myself?
Yes.
Yeah, the fact is this. There are two options for, people we look at two options here. The military and the people. We forget to understand that the power belongs to us. We are the government. And the reason why we are able to speak here loud is that we own Nigeria. Government belongs to the people. We have to speak what happened, not the military. We have to, irrespective of what it takes to speak, we have to speak. And that's the reason why I am speaking here. I'm shouting every day on this media to make sure that my voice is heard.
Okay, let me just give you a direct question. Let's say during the NSAS movement, because the NSAS actually attracted a lot of international attention and attracted a lot of support worldwide.
I know where you're coming from.
Because the people were asking for legitimate pay, because we see the gap between the rich and the poor widening, social injustice, poverty raging, people are living below the poverty line. We see a lot of things happening. It's difficult to have 3 square meals a day. So what I'm saying is this: if some military guys had stepped in then to support the people, would you have minded?
No, what do you mean by support the people? Coming in to take over because the people have said? Is that what you mean?
Yes, to support the people to take over, would you have minded?
That's what I'm trying to say here. That's what I was trying to answer you. Power belongs to the people. We don't have to retard our movement because they suppress us in answers. Because people were killed does not mean we should not continue the journey. We're supposed to press further. We, the civilians, have to come out. Even they are killing us, they don't continue to kill us until our vote is heard. That was happening in Arab Spring in South Africa. They were on the street, they line up. How many people will you kill? Until they were forced to run away. Nigerians, they should not go back because we are being suppressed by machine gun. 10 people have been killed, 5 and people are now back into their shell. No, we have to continue. And that's why my voice will continue to be heard on this forum, because no one will stop me.
Thank you.
There's many ways to kill a rat. If the Nigerian military government don't want us to talk, let them come over the Facebook and stop me. Let them come over the air and hold me. Let Nigerians go online. Let them go everywhere and shout. Let our voice be heard everywhere we are, in the north, in the south, in South Korea, in Japan, wherever all Nigerians should rally up and fill Facebook and YouTube and accuse the government. They will change for the next election. Next 2023 is coming. We have to change the formation of that government. We have to throw these people away, and we have to lead.
We are not throwing anybody away. We are not throwing. Hey, Jude.
The reason is this. Next 4 years, the reason is this. The next 4 years is crucial. If we continue on the same way we are going to be
constitutional reforms. Yeah.
Yeah, constitutional reform.
Exactly. If we continue this pattern in the next 4 years, hand over to the next government in the same pattern, we are going to meet such a thing we are discussing now. So we have to avoid this. Let our voice be heard. We cannot go to NSAS and say because they should know we come. Let us go on Facebook. Let us go on YouTube. Let them come and shoot us on YouTube. Let them come and shoot on Facebook. Let them come to Ireland and carry me. And somebody else in Ireland will pick up the
Mr. Jude, nobody is going to come to Ireland.
Don't worry. If not carry me, somebody else in Ireland will carry again. Continue with the music over the phone, over the voice, not by gun, not by shooting, but by my voice. My voice will not be stopped. Nobody will stop me.
Yeah. Jude, nobody gonna stop anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
The pattern is this: when you people are killed in Nigeria, they deter other people from coming out. Okay, there are other ways to do it. It's not by shooting. It's not by carrying gun. It's not by the military coming in, because it doesn't make sense. When we make noise, the government will be shaking. We have to make noise. We have to anything we have to create, for the world to hear what we are going through. Let us do it.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you. In essence, what Jude is trying to say is that he does not support military coup, and I know that unequivocally, Mr. Eze as well does not support military coup. Nobody on this forum supports military coup. In essence, what Jude is saying is that the people will have to stand up and fight for their rights, not through armed insurrection, but through their franchise.
Yeah.
They come out to vote the right people in. In essence, that is what Jude is trying to say. Tony, over to you.
Yeah, you see, we will continue to praise the government where they have done well.
Yes.
At the same time, we should not ignore the area they have not performed.
Yes, of course.
So all we are saying is that it's like when you slap a child with a right hand, then you take your left hand and take him back. They've been trying.
Yeah.
It appears their best is not enough. And that's why we are here kind of creating awareness that we don't want these military boys to come in total disregard of all the achievement they have made. They should put their house in order. They need to hear from the people. Because even when you are on Facebook, YouTube and all that, are you sure they are listening to you?
Yeah.
But the people on the ground, the people on the ground, you are encouraged to make peaceful response to how you feel. Nothing violent, no military incursion. We want awareness. Government, thank you for the one you have done. These are where we are not happy with you.
These are where you have fell short.
Exactly. And every government worldwide, they love feedback. It's called feedback. Kind of bringing it to their attention that this is where it hurts. Do something about it. And the next democratic government will be able to take a good step from the ones they've done well and then struggle hard to clean up where there is mess.
Thank you, Tony. Tony, you mentioned a critical point in the communication loop. Yeah. Okay, the feedback is a critical stage of the communication process. In Diaspora Global Panel, we are still working on the handshake. That is, when our feedback is going to be reaching the quarters that needs to listen to us, that needs to hear us. And that is why we want to appeal to the public to share our program and subscribe to our channel, because we need to reach the highest authority in the land. because we believe that what we are doing is one of the contributions that we can make to the country, to delve into issues, critical issues, and I must confess to you, in preparing for this topic, the Diaspora Global Panel, the panelists, we met to talk about the do's and the don'ts, because this is a very sensitive topic. We do not, enjoy putting ourselves into this difficult situation, but we know that it's something we have to do. And as Jude said, people should not shy away of speaking out for their rights, speaking out on issues that are critical to the development of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because we love that country so much. And I must say, in support of Tony, the government has done well in some critical aspects as well. It is not doom and gloom, but what we are just saying is that there are still some few areas that needs improvement. For example, our electoral process. I know that, the last question, because we are nearing the end of today's program, the last question is about our elections. And I know that Tony and Jude, you have actually touched it, a bit. But to formalize it, I would like to ask the question, because I need very straight answer. And I believe that our people need very straight answer. You see, in Africa, we know that elections don't really count. I'm sure nobody would dispute that. What other options of change do you think are available to the people instead of these military coups? What other options do you think are available? In essence, tell the people the options available to them. That military coup is not an option. Tony.
We ask for fair and free election. Because if you watch most nations in Africa and in diaspora, where you have authentic election, the military has no inroad, because if you don't perform, you're going to be voted out. The voters, you need to hold your representatives accountable. Oftentimes, we push all the problem to the doorstep of the president. No. Many, almost 85% of the problem come from our elected officials. They don't perform, and they are not voted out of power because of rigging of elections. The masses should do their own thing. When there's an election, go and vote and defend your election. The private sector should help government in some of the activities. Government cannot do everything, so that we don't stand out, keep on blaming government all the time. It's a business for all. If we do it together, we're going to be happy. If you see something bad, say it or report it. And we hope that those that are in authority will be able to listen. Because if you don't create opportunity, a fertile ground for military to come, they will never come.
Thank you, Tony. That was wonderful. I have to be honest. Jude, the same question. What options of change are available to the people?
Military takeover is not an option. It's not an option at all. And don't forget, we are the giant of Africa. Every other continent, they look up to Nigeria to take the leadership role. and we must retain our democracy. Retain it, irrespective of what goes on. But the thing is this, the option we have is left for we, government will give people, we the people, opportunity to choose the right people in. Like I was watching Channel News yesterday. There's a cap where they, before you contest for an election, you have a certain amount of money you have to pay to the INEC. I see about some people, if you want to go for president, you have to pay like 1 million, governor, 500.
No, it's more than that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, as for example, the amount they are giving for people.
I think it's close to 50 million for a president.
Exactly. Then compare it to every position down. Everyone, the money.
For House of Rep is 7.5 million.
You see that? So governorship and everything. How many legitimate Nigerians have that money?
At least in APC. In APC.
Okay. And this is why the reasons why the young people, the women and other group are not coming out, because they don't have that, even the money to come out to pay for them to be heard. The government they should scrap this off. They should give people opportunity to come out and contest, not taking the money. So what it means that the government of Nigeria now is for people who have money. If you don't have money to deposit down, to contest, to register as a contestant, you can't come in, even though you have.
So Jude, let's say for a youth aspiring to contest for probably the state House of Assembly.
Yes.
What options, because I said, what option of change, let's say what option of change, is available to the people? You see, how can they, because okay, they need a change in government. Let me put it this way. The government is not performing. I'm not saying government of Nigeria is not performing. I'm saying peradventure, the government is not performing.
For me, the government of Nigeria is not performing.
Okay. The government is not performing.
For me, yeah.
And they need to make a change. However, because of the fraudulent electoral processes, it's difficult for these youths to effect changes. And we are saying we don't want military takeover.
Okay.
So what options do you think are available to our people in effecting a change in government?
We the people have to come
out. Barring military intervention.
No military intervention here in Nigeria. We are saying that we don't want it. So the option.
Yes. So what option do you think
is left for us to stand up for democracy? Okay. And the only way we can stand up for democracy is by letting the people, give them chance to bring out the right contestants.
So as you can see, Tony, that is a very difficult question to answer.
Right.
As you can see, it's a very difficult question to answer, because we are saying no military coup, but it's difficult for your voice to be heard.
Yeah.
With the electoral process that we have now, that is,
exactly,
if I must confess, fraudulent. What option is available?
Let me come in there. The government said, President Buhari said that he supports the youth. He said it yesterday. He wants the youth to come out this time to play part in politics in Nigeria. But the youth have no environment, a conducive environment to come out, because they cannot afford it.
They don't have the wherewithal
to afford it
to contest the election. And if you remember Ruben Abati, he has interviewed two young ladies, one Maje Kodumi in Ogun State, and the lady is from my constituency, okay, and interviewed another lady in Lagos. You see that are vying, and one question that this Ruben asked them is that, that the process is very expensive. This is very expensive. He talks about money. He talks about money every time. So, Tony, what option is available to our youth?
Honestly speaking, the youths have no option, because unless a particular youth is sponsored by one of the kingmakers, they don't have a way out. Because what you have in Nigeria is a kind of organized crime where friends and families recycle themselves to governance. If you check most of the states in Nigeria, you will find most of the commissioners, they come from one old politician or the other. So
Yeah.
until probably some group like the Labour Congress can support some youths, raise money for them, because where are they going to get all this expensive amount of money being quoted? Automatically, they are not qualified financially. And
They have been disqualified.
And unconfirmed report says we have 70 or 75% of the Nigerian population are youths.
Yeah, Tony, for instance, you ask somebody to drink water, but you don't give him a cup.
Yeah. So definitely, if the youths who are in the majority are kept away from the corridors of power, they are just creating fertile ground for sometime unfortunate thing to happen. So the government should take action that any qualified youth by constitutional requirements does not have to pay money to contest if they are serious. But they use this amount of money to keep some people away from contesting. If you want to contest for the presidency and they say you're going to bring, is it 70 million or how much? Where are you going to
I
get?
know that the presidency, I think probably is 50 million, if I am right.
Yeah,
I think the governorship is 25 million.
Okay.
And I think,
Dr. Kule, if I want to contest for presidency, where do you expect me to get 50 million?
That's it. So it's organized. So until they realize that you cannot hold people to ransom always, keeping people in the majority out of power is not a recipe for good governance, because you continue to have agitation rather than taking care of the youth. They use youth as a weapon of attack during election, as thugs. That should change. People should come and sponsor youth if the government are not ready.
Thank you so much for that. Now we have come to the end of today's program. But before we leave, let me also touch on this, because Jude and Tony made very great points. This is my suggestion. One, the government should get rid of monetary requirements.
Yes.
Any youth that wants to contest elections should not be required to pay 7.5 million, 5 million, 2.5 million. Should not be required to pay a dime. Just maybe a nominal fee of maybe 5,000, 10,000 naira for the application form, and let them contest elections. Like Jude said, you don't give them a cup and you ask them to come and drink water. Also, I would implore, the government of Nigeria to ensure that the next political dispensation will be focused on attracting intelligent and capable youth to contest elections in Nigeria. Because we know that the youth can actually perform. The youth can actually rule Nigeria. And I want to advise the youth as well. But peradventure, the government decided, or the parties decided, not to drop the monetary requirement. I will say that you can form a pressure group like we have here in Canada, in US, in UK, in Britain, in Ireland, in Germany. You see, we see pressure groups. It's like the youth of probably a certain local government, they have identified a young man that they think will promote progressive agendas. And they now say, let us come together. Let us contribute the money for this guy to contest. That is like forming a pressure group to agitate for our ambitions. So I think a lot of options are available for us to explore, because I do not see these parties dropping the monetary requirements. Tony, any last word?
We say bye-bye to a military coup in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Welcome new democracy that listens to the voice of reason.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Jude.
Yeah, democracy is the only way. We will grow. Nigeria will come out of this. And we have to persist to remain to remain in democratic government, and we're going to overcome it. It's a build-up process. Like I said, we all have to come together, make our voice be heard, even though we can't go to the streets. Let us speak out anything we see to speak out that make us make a noise. Let us make a noise. Let the world hear, and let them see that things are happening, and then they'll be scared.
Thank you. Thank you, Jude. Yeah, we have come to the end of today's program. We want to thank our beautiful audience for, sparing us the time to listen to our program today. From Anthony Eze in the United States and Jude Unwa Okolo from the Republic of Ireland, and from my humble self, Olakunle Lemboye, we would like to say thank you and have a wonderful weekend. Give us a like and subscribe to our channel.